However, it became perverted, if you like, when we started worshipping them. Jesus was clear when he wanted to calm the storm. He spoke to the storm. He was authoritative about it. Cease, stop, be still. It wasn't nasty. He was simply giving a command. The animals and all of that were put into our care. We're caretakers of it.
Yeah.
So to go into worship of those things.
Yeah. Strength in numbers, though, when you think about it, a whole tribe, when you've got that joint one-mindedness of things, it gives more strength and more...
Again, our willpower, our psyche has a substance to it. The issue I have with, because at the core roots of all of those things is Druidism. It's worship of the elements. We're supposed to be taking care of the elements. It put things in the right order. Yes, the American Indians, they have a result because they are putting, again, their psychic energy into it. So all of these things were put into our care. So what the Native American Indians are doing, the Maoris do, the Aboriginals do here, is actually not out of order as far as realising that these things are reality and we can get them on side working for us. The issue has come to a point where the Satanic crowd are aware of that too, and they have completely and utterly perverted it. God made it clear when he made the heavens and the earth, he said to man, take dominion of the earth. He didn't say these people or those people take dominion, man take dominion. Now, if we're not doing things the right way, the idea is there in Satanism to use these things for ill.
Yeah.
They are under command and they will do what man commands because the order that God set was for man to be the ones in control of those things. So whether it's people doing it for good or people doing it for bad, these things are under command. So they will do what's in their order. Things got very, very perverted when we started going into worship of these things and relying on these things rather than God himself. We can command the elements. We can, when I say command, don't think that I'm being bossy in that. We can work with angels. I work with angels all the time. They are my co-workers. I don't worship them. If you see what I'm saying, there's a big difference. If they are created order to assist man, be working alongside man, not to be worshipped by man. As soon as we put ourselves in worship of them, we're throwing out God's order.
Yeah, that so makes sense. In a general perspective, not even just from a godlike perspective, it makes sense.
That's right. And I do say that to a lot of people because they tend to go into prayer, and this is I'm not putting any particular culture or race or whatever in that because everyone does it. You look at the Catholics and their worship for angels is incredible. It's actually, in God's view, it is idolatry. There's nothing short of that. It is idolatry, and we're not supposed to do it. It's not fair to the angels actually either to do that because it's putting them out of order. It's putting them AWOL. But a lot of people go in and pray, to Archangel Michael, to Gabriel, to Ariel, to all of those ones to say, go and do this for me and go and do that for me. Do we really think that we have the authority to boss around entities like that? I keep saying to people, if you go to the army, just our physical army, say to a private in the army, go around and guard my house. If he does that, he's AWOL. We really have to go through the right channels to bring in that defence. Why would we think that God's structure is any different to our physical structure when in actual fact it mirrors it?
Yeah, no, it totally makes sense in a lot of ways. I guess you have to sort of take on what you think and what you believe is correct and then get rid of the rest at the end of the day.
Yes.
That Rome wasn't built in a day, so a lot of us have had this embedded in us for so long.
Yeah.
So in order for you to sort of go right and question that, all right, I need to make changes and that this idealist behaviour that I've got or all these ideals may not be right.
Yeah. I mean, I've struggled
with life change.
As I say, because I was raised in two circles, if you like. So by day, the good Christian, by night, there's whatever I was. You have all these belief systems set up around that. You cannot believe the amount of belief systems I've had to smash down in myself to get to the truth because we're taught something. We're taught, and we're either it's passed down from generation to generation. Yeah. It gets it's like Chinese whispers. It gets changed. It gets there's what we call leaven in it.
I mean, for you yourself, coming from the Satanic side, the cult, it must be a daily trial to try and figure out how you deal with other people's ideals and ideas of things. I mean,
it is a difficult one because I don't want to sort of ostracize anyone. The Lord loves everybody. We're all seeking, we're all searching, and I don't see any benefit to running anyone down for their beliefs or doing that. You've really got to look at everyone the way God looks at them. He loves us all. He made us all. So to be constantly reaching out and going, well, let's work this out together. Let's not go up in arms against each other. Let's work this out, because at the end of the day, man is a creation of God. We should be working together. God looks at himself as the Father. He is the Father of all creation. We're supposed to be working together as, fellow man, brothers and sisters. We should be doing that, not sort of segregating ourselves and going, well, I'm better because I know this, and not that they're wrong because I say that. I have found that every single thing has a truth in it. All of the things have a truth in it. What we need to do is actually get down to the absolute truth and get rid of, like you're saying, everything else that's not. So it's getting rid of all that leaven and getting to the truth. So, because at the end of the day, we all want to be safe, we all want to be secure, we all want to know where we fit.
Yeah, everybody's entitled to their own opinions.
Absolutely.
I think everyone's entitled to believe in what they believe in, because it's so embedded these days. It's hard to let go of things that we're so used to. But we also need to remember this all started from somewhere. It's all been created from something. So every little ritual that we do, our meditations, our yoga, our being zen with one, and all those types of behaviours, have originated from something in order to create a following, I guess.
Yeah. Yes, it's always been a battle of how many souls, and this is from a spiritual perspective, how many souls can I gather? Because when you're looking at souls, you are a commodity. As I say, it's the intention, the will, all of that is a part of our soul. So that's what's required.
Am I saying that that psychics or tarot readers or mediums are trying to, coerce you into coming in to see them? I think the world's gotten to a stage these days that we're all searching for something, an answer, a direction, and all of these little ritualistic behaviours have given us some sense of belonging to something.
Yeah, it gives us something to hold on to that's tangible. I have learnt, as you know where I was raised from, I have learnt there's not one tarot card. Actually, that's not true. There are a few that are very dodgy, but there's not one tarot card reader, medium, or any of that I know that a desire to entice or capture someone in some way. Every single one that I work alongside, that I know of, their love of the people and their genuine desire to help them get through and do that is just absolutely phenomenal. And that's the one thing that I have learnt. I could easily, from where I've come from, go, all of that's all the people are evil. They just want to, and there's a lot of them that are. Let me be clear on that. There's a lot of them that definitely are. However, in the general circles that are going to those things, the practitioners, most of them have a genuine love for their fellow man, and they want to help, and they find that they have, a psychic ability, and they want to use that to assist. So we've got to look at the heart of the man. We've really got to look at what their desire is. Work with them. Work with them to find, okay, what's going to really work here. A lot of people who are in those sorts of fields are in there because they have a skill and they want to use that for the good. So bring them to a place where they can, when they can be absolutely assured that everything that they're doing is spot on.
I think also most people come to you for that clarity, but they tend to use it as a crux for them to be able to move forward in life. I think if we are in touch with ourselves a lot more and identify our own emotions and what is and what isn't, you wouldn't need to come and see us so many times.
I think if people understood, it's been a very, very hard journey for me, so please don't think I'm judging anyone. If we understood that there is a creator out there that loves us with an intense love, it gives us automatically a sense of belonging somewhere.
Yeah.
That there's something external that actually is working for us. It's just a matter of finding that path, basically, without being taken on all the detours.
Yeah, I think this life has created such a loneliness in a lot of sense, where you're literally having just to try and find people that are like-minded or understand you, and because we're in such a fast lifestyle as well, you tend to be alone most of the time. So seeking that forever partner, that forever job, that forever relationship that will ground you. And I think the relationship you need to have that forever happiness with is yourself.
Absolutely. And being connected to the one who actually created us to make us feel whole.
Yeah.
A lot of people who come to us, whether, wherever they're coming from, generally what you're finding is whatever their search has led them on, if they've got themselves into spiritual trouble, which happens a lot, they all started from the same situation. I want to feel loved.
Yeah.
I want to know what it feels like to be loved. There's something missing. A lot of them say there's something missing.
Yeah.
And that's what our searching is all about, that trying to fill that hole that we all feel. And I've come to know that the only way that can be filled is by God himself, because he does actually touch the spirit of man. When we're dealing with spirits, such as entities or even those of deceased souls, it doesn't fill the spirit. They can talk into our psyche, they can comfort our emotion, but it doesn't actually touch our spirit.
So I think the essence of this whole podcast today is really about identifying the rituals that we've attached ourselves to in order to give us that safety or that consistency in our life, I guess.
Yeah. And the sad thing that I see constantly is people trialing this ritualistic behaviour and then, okay, that hasn't worked, go to the next thing. And as you say, spending so much money on just trying to get that hole filled or that whatever's going wrong filled. There's a lot of deception in the spiritual realm. A lot of people can think, well, doing this and doing this and doing this, without realising that it actually has a background, a backstory, if you will, in relation to different entities and those sorts of things. And they can come in, they can give an emotional tickle. They can make you feel good for a certain amount of time, but then that dies. And then we have to go searching again and trying something new or adding to it and doing it more and more regularly, making it a ritual to actually get that. It's like taking a drug. You've got to have that feeling.
Yeah.
And as soon as it wears off, okay, now I need to go in and do it again.
But I think we need to look at ourselves first and look at what's missing within our own life. It's not the need to have that attachment or this or that. It's that need to have some clarity on who we are or where we belong, I think, for ourselves.
Yes.
So I think you need to look at it from that perspective. If you're sort of going, well, maybe I'm looking for that father figure that I never had or so, but I can't find it, so I'm going to start attaching myself to bring in these sort of people.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to it and the reasonings to it while we do it as well.
Well, the psyche of man is very complex.
We are very complex, aren't we?
And we are, let's be honest, we are influenced by the atmosphere and the things in the spiritual realm around us. So we tend to be, and that, like we were saying last week, that can be, that can lead us into more and more psychological stuff because we don't realise that, yes, we're hooking into certain frequencies that can bring on more depression, those sorts of things. So we need to be aware of all of that. Once we get a real good grasp on man being made up, basically of three parts, spirit, soul and body, what we're dealing with in spiritual stuff external from us is all psychological. I'm not saying it's all in your mind, it's not. It hits the psyche, not the spirit.
I think what I've struggled mostly living in Australia is that I have such a massive family and family was always a huge thing. Let's get with family, and family gives you that peace of mind, that connection. And living here, because most of our family would live within the same township, you would always have someone to go with, to hang out with. There's a sense of loneliness where you have this disconnection from family, and I've even become a part of it, this disconnection where I'm by myself doing my own thing. And I think the Australian culture doesn't have that as a basis as family connectedness. So people's loneliness and need to feel like they have to have something in their life creates this whole ritualistic behaviour and everything we're doing.
Unfortunately, especially the Caucasian Australians, they don't have that same grounding. I mean, the Aboriginal people, they have such a good sense of family, to their culture, to all of those roots. They're just beautiful. But yes, you're right. And the more we get told, I mean, if you look at a newborn infant who is not bonded with the mother, they don't do well. Their immune systems for life can actually be shot from that.
Yep.
So you can see that the human is made for communication, for interaction, for communion, for fellowship, for those things. And the more we get shoved out of that, the more we're ostracizing that, then we start to see a real deadening of the spiritual life and the soulish life, the whole lot.